Today we're going to be making chicken enchiladas, which is a popular Mexican dish. Now all we basically need for this recipe is some enchilada sauce, some corn tortillas, some ground chicken, cheese, onions, chili, and of course some salt and vegetable oil. And we're going to be using a spatula, a frying pan, a bowl, some cutting boards, and a baking pan. So for this recipe, we're going to cook the onions and chicken in the frying pan until the chicken browns. And once that's done, we're going to actually roll up the enchiladas and put them in here.
Now to chop your onions, start by chopping the whole thing in half. Then cut off one end and peel off the outer layer. Lay one half down on the cutting board and cut perpendicular to the cut you just made, being careful not to cut your fingers. Now turn the knife 90 degrees and cut the onion again. The onion should break up into tiny pieces. Repeat this for the other half and set the chopped piece aside.
So we have our pan over medium-high heat, and we're going to add a few tablespoons of vegetable oil to coat the bottom. Kind of swirl that around, get the whole bottom coated before we go ahead and add the chicken. So we're going to wait a minute for that to heat up before we add our ground chicken. You'll start to notice as the oil gets thinner as it heats up. And to test the oil, we're going to put just a tiny little bit of chicken into it to see if it sizzles. See, that's not quite ready yet. And keep waiting for a minute. You hear a very faint sizzle as you start to add that in. That's when you're going to want to go ahead and add the rest of the chicken right in there. You're going to want to break up your ground chicken so you don't get big chunks of it in your final product. As the chicken browns, you're going to want to keep it moving so that none of it burns on the bottom. And if you hear it sizzling a little too hard, you're going to want to turn it down. This looks to be just right. And give it a second to brown on the bottom. And then we're going to go ahead and start flipping it over. And you want to just, the trick with browning meats is to keep it moving. Like, you don't want to let any of it sit and burn. So waiting just for a little bit for our chicken to finish browning, or get most of the way finished browning, before we're going to add our onions. Okay, so when we see that the chicken's there's just little bits of pink left in the chicken, we're going to add our onions in. Mix that through. Our goal is just to soften up the onions just a little bit during this step. And let it all cook together for a minute here. And the chicken finishes browning. Okay, so these look good where they are right now. So I'm going to grab our chili seasoning packet. We bought at Publix for only 49 cents. It's a great way to add a little bit more flavor to the inside of these enchiladas. We're going to kind of sprinkle that over the top, get it mixed in. gets a nice, strong Mexican smell coming out of it. See, as the onions start to take up a little bit of that chili flavor, they're going to turn a nice, rich brown color. Add a bit more in here. This will keep the inside of our tortillas, or of our enchiladas, from tasting just like a bland mixture of plain chicken and cheese, which sometimes comes out like that, and that's no good. Okay. We got just enough of those Mexican spices in there. Get it spiced up. And then a good trick is once you've added those spices, pour a little bit of water into the bottom of your pan and let it, then we're going to turn this up to the highest setting that it goes and wait for that to boil off. As you can see, the liquid in this pan has reduced a lot, so we're going to turn the heat off and just let that cool down for just 1 second. And then we're going to try and drain out our chicken, but we want to leave some of that sauce in there because we don't want to lose it, because that's actually going to taste very, very good. So we're going to use that kind of to augment our enchilada sauce that we bought in cans. So what we're going to do is kind of tilt it like this and grab some of the chicken out of the top and put it off to the side in this bowl. As you can see, very thick sauce is draining out to the bottom. That's going to be very useful later on. Make sure we get as much chicken as possible out of that sauce. We can leave some of the onions behind this. That'll add a nice flavor to that sauce. I'm just going to drop the last bit out of there. Now we're now left with a little bit of medium. We're going to throw in our 3 cans of enchilada sauce.